Hello, I'm Mark Baer. You're watching YourTown Television. My guest Eric Wobbles, who is a producer, a musician, a songwriter, videographer.
Hi, Mark. Good to be here today. Yeah.
So, who, what, when, and where? What are we dealing with here?
Yeah. So I refer to myself as a Chomp baby. I was born at Chomp, raised in the area here, and I found myself. I do a little bit of everything. Growing up as a musician, learning all the skills in and out of that. I started doing video because of music videos, but I grew up classical, played funk, jazz, R&B, produce electronic music. You start to learn the ins and outs of recording, engineering, and songwriting, and everything just kind of bundles together. And that's kind of who I am. I often get pulled into projects that are, I don't exactly know what I'm doing there, but I always find a way to be useful because I can fill in the gaps of somebody else, or I can, put forth my own ideas when other people are like, we're just here, as sidemen. I'm like, well, I've got ideas. Let's do whatever. And it's an interesting ride. Every week is a little different.
So we met last week at Palenque.
At Palenque, yeah.
And this is Juan Sanchez, and Juan serves the needy, the underprivileged, the first generation.
Juan is amazing. I met Juan when there's the Alternative Cafe, and it's where the Open Ground Studios is right now in Seaside, Paul Richmond's spot. It used to be a small venue. They had small touring acts. It was intimate space, and they had all this art up on the walls. It was a lowbrow art is that art movement, and that's literally a thing. You could look it up, lowbrow art. But I met Juan there at the open mic scene there, and it was a budding music scene in Monterey Seaside, and Juan has been all around, played all around. He's got a real in-depth musical chops. He can sing bilingually and really entertain and captivate and storytell. And unlike a lot of the other, and he's older than a lot of the younger musicians here, but everybody respects him.
I believe he's from Barcelona.
Yeah, he is. And he started this essentially, serving lower income families in the area with a multicultural after-school program, to put it one way. I don't want to put too many words in his mouth, but he's been doing really great work there. They'll have jazz class, they'll have African drumming class, they'll have piano class, they'll have various dance classes, and I've recently been getting involved with him because he's been like, hey, it's pandemic, let's shoot some videos. And I'm like, okay, let's shoot some videos. And then we're like, okay, well, we need to produce the song for the video. I'm like, let's produce the song for the video. Let's arrange the song. And everything just kind of ties together. So it's been a joy to work with him over the last, year or two now. And then, like you said, last Sunday was the Palenque Festival, and they do that just about every year. And it's Laguna Grande Park, and it's a really big deal. It felt like coming out of the quarantine finally. I was like, oh, we're at a festival where we're outside. Some of us are wearing masks. Everything is relaxing a bit. We're listening to live music. It was a joyous moment, and I met you there, Mark. But I had already kind of known you, so I was like, "Oh, you're that guy." And I was
we
like,
know the same.
I don't quite know what you do.
Yeah.
I still don't quite know, but some things are best left, a mystery.
Yeah. I had the rugs there, and we were.
Right.
I was shooting you. You were shooting me, and we were shooting everybody else. And the costumes and Juan's keeping the cultures alive.
He is, yeah.
And and celebrating it and making people. It was just a glorious day. What I'm interested in. Very much is the the American Songbook, and I've been looking at the American Songbook not to write nostalgic songs, but to write future songs, and so as a lyrics writer, you're always looking for somebody who can do that. And songwriting is a particular skill set, and you've been doing it for a long time. So let's talk about you as a songwriter.
Yeah, so I mean, songwriting is one of those. It's a very interesting art because there's many ways to do it, and there's many ways to approach it, and no one way is necessarily better than another. Some ways are so musically, as in chords, harmony, melodic based, that they throw the lyrics out to the side, and some are the exact opposite, where it's like, wow, you got these really great lyrics, and then you have this, whatever, just like a couple chords on a guitar. It's like not, it's not musically fleshed out, but the lyrics are fleshed out, and then you have these collaborations of different people. You have these single songwriters, you have groups of songwriters. There's so many different ways to write a song. And personally, as a songwriter, usually I find I'm working more with lyricists, and I'm working more, somebody has, hey, I've got this lyric idea, and maybe they don't have the context to like what is, in a lyric idea, you might have an idea that's, okay, that needs to stand out. So let's put that on the top of the cake, right? And then what's our meat of the cake? Let's structure this song in a way that that really makes sense and is a really nice meal, essentially. So usually as a songwriter, I'm complimenting other more lyric-based, lyric-heavy songwriters with the production side, with the arranging side, what we might call it. And then sometimes I'll be like, yeah, well, let's try this word instead of that word. Let's, there's always things to finesse, and there's always, a song is very organic, and you have to kind of meet it where it's at, and you have to be like, okay, this song wants to be a thing. It wants to be a certain thing, so we have to meet it where it's at and flesh that part. And we can't, if it wants to be this thing, we can't try to push it in this direction because it doesn't want to be that. And I think that's the case for a lot of art and a lot of collaboration. The more you struggle with it, the more you're usually fighting and making it something it's not. And you need to strip away at it and figure out what it truly is. Any song has like a, an essay might call it a thesis statement. Like, oh, this is your bottom line. This is the point you're driving home. This is the emotion that you're trying to encapsulate in a song, and trying to find that and boil that down so that we know where to center everything around, because a song in itself is typically like 2 to 5 minutes, and it's got to be a very concise piece of art. And when things get bloated and out of proportion, we're like, okay, we need to cut things down, and what are we truly looking for here in this song?
So when I write a song or a lyric, again, a lyric isn't a poem. It's, people think lyrics are poetry. It's lyrics can be poetic, but lyrics aren't poetry. You're looking for a simplicity of language. You're looking for you're looking to express human emotions that are hard to express. But people should feel them when they hear it. I'm always, what's in a song that makes you cry? Summertime, The Living's Easy, and you get goosebumps. And it's getting down to a simplicity. It's getting down to an honesty, and also I think very specific imagery that paints you a picture.
Yeah, so I think there is a big crossover of songwriting, poetry, lyric writing, and poetry, because they can play off each other. I've one of my writing partners and musical partners often describes like, oh, songwriting sometimes is like bad poetry. It's like it's poetry, but you can't. If it's too good at poetry, it stops being a good song sometimes, because the nature of the music to lyric relationship in the song, you have to respect and interweave them. And if they're not done properly, it's just like, well, you just put some chords over a poem now. It doesn't sound like a song. They need to speak to each other. And I think there's a simplicity that comes in the lyrics, in the poetry, so to say, that needs to complement that. I know plenty of writers that are like, yeah, I'll write a poem and then I'll try to strip that away into a song. Or they'll be like, I like to journal, and I'll journal out my feelings, and then I'll take from that into a song. And there might be tidbits there, but oftentimes I find songs come from a seed, and we'll be talking and being like, wow, aren't these plants beautiful? And they remind me of something. And oh, we could flesh that out into a seed, and we could talk about plant metaphors in the lyrics and how life is like these plants, and flesh that out. And that's one of the fun parts of songwriting, is that we get to have a conversation.
What I've been doing, again, because I've been painting, so I've been writing songs that have to fit a certain amount of space. So there's always, with a lyric, it's a matter that it has to either fit a melody.
Yeah.
And so what I'm doing, I'm doing like words in paint, so that I have to have concision. So there's always concision in songwriting. And the other bit of it is, sometimes the lyrics is written first, sometimes the melody is written first. Ira and George Gershwin, sometimes the words would come, sometimes the melody would come,
right?
And they would, then work it together. Have you worked the other way with the melody first?
I've worked both ways. Sometimes you have. Oftentimes you just have an emotion, and you'll be like, wow, I'm going to express that emotion in this chord progression. And if you're collaborating with somebody, I'd be like, let me play you this chord progression. Let me tell you what it means to me. And you might be like, this is what it means to me. And we'll be like, we can work off that and be like, oh, wow, we found our shared humanity here. Let's write a song about that. You can do it from there. Some modern stuff, there's a whole person that just creates a whole beat. They're beat makers, that's what they're called, and they make basically a whole backing track to a song, and then somebody else creates a melody line to it, and then somebody else writes lyrics to that melody line, and it's a little disjointed at that point, and I think it's very much away from the American songbook way of doing things, but all ways become valid in a certain point, because the end result is like we're trying to communicate the human condition and share in that, and as long as we get close to that, we're doing the right thing.
Let's talk about melody a bit.
Yeah, let's talk about melody. Because a melody is like itself can yearn for things, can dip down like our moods, and can stretch, and you can sing and no two people are going to sing the same melody the same way, and you can stretch to certain emotions with the melody, and ideally the melody matches the lyrics. And part of the songwriting process is you're going to give me lyrics, and I'm going to be like, oh, this means something to me, but what does it mean to you, Mark? What were you channeling when you wrote this? And I'll be like, and you'll be like, oh, well, I was feeling really sad. And I'll be like, well, then it doesn't make sense if we write necessarily a happy song, because that's like not honoring that original intention and flow with that. So I'll be like, I feel sad about things too, and I'll channel that into how I'm going to construct the song and going to construct the melody.
I'll hear a lyric in my head, or I'll hear a theme, or I guess basically I'll start with a metaphor, and a metaphor will come to me.
Sure.
What's the sound of
place to write from.
What's the song of the siren? What does the song of the siren mean? I'll start there. Why did Sinbad jump over the side? He was coming to you. So I'll start with something, and then that'll come to me. But a melody will never come to me. So do melodies come to you, or is melody something that comes when you sit down and play?
Often I think a lot in terms of the chord progression. To me, I think about the chord progression kind of sets a mood. The chord and the rhythm, what we call the groove, or whether it's a fast or a slow, upbeat, or it's a dirge, that starts to set the mood, kind of like the baseline of where we are, the flooring. And when I think about melody, you can think about it devoid of lyrics, and sometimes there's only so far you can get on that. You can sing along to a song and be like, improvise a melody over somebody else's song and just play with it. But then when you sit down with the lyrics, I think that's where it really kind of comes together, because there's an infinite amount of ways to sing these lyrics. I could repeat this first word for 5 minutes straight, and just, and I mean, think about a lot of old opera is like they would, or like even, a lot of religious music, they would, a lot of Bach, they would sing the same words over and over and over and over again, and it would just be one phrase, and then they'd eventually move on to the next phrase, and like that's a way to write. What are we? I look at them. There's a million different ways to sing these lyrics, but what's the truest way?
Yeah.
And
how do we get to the core?
Right.
I guess that's the secret for everything, is how do you get to this, to the core?
And sometimes you set the mood with the chords, and the melody comes out of those major and minor scales and improvisation and the singer. If you have a singer in mind, be like, I love how this singer sings this interval, and maybe sometimes you're like, we need to shift the key because their money note is that, that C right there. We need them to hit that note at the right part so that the emotions unfold at the right timing. But yeah, everything kind of plays off each other in varying speeds for varying songs, and that's why there's no two songs are alike, because the creative process is so up in the air. You can do just about anything.
Well, I'm with Eric Wobbles. You're watching YourTown TV. Hopefully you're eavesdropping on our preliminary conversations. Hopefully we're going to write a song together, and then it'll make more sense what we're talking about.
Yeah. One of the most common interview questions you get is, tell me about what is the creative process, because so many people don't have a way into like how do you write a song, like where does that come from, and it's like there's hard work that goes into it, and there's also like opening yourself up to essentially receiving the song and having the tools to translate that into a song. So many people don't know what goes into any sort of the songwriting process. So it's kind of cool to talk about that in depth. You know.
And it's been really fun talking first, because it's the articulations which you're giving me as possibilities as a writer, and geez, here's what we can do. Then I had to say, well, what do you like? What touches you? So where do the I and the we meet? And that's and then where's it played and what's it for?
And that's any collaboration, right?
Yeah.
Is any good collaboration it's not just one person leading and everybody else following that. It's, hey, this is what I bring to the table. What do you bring to the table? What do we have in common that we can flesh out?
And how does the one and one make four? That's
exactly. That's one way to look at it.
Okay, we're out of here.